Hey everyone, welcome to the orientation for the PyTorch Scholarship Challenge. We're live from the San Francisco offices. I'm Brenda, your community manager.
And I'm Chaitra, your program manager on scholarships.
And we're also joined today by Chris Vasquez. Chris is part of our scholarships teams and he's in chat with you right now, so say hello to him.
We also have Matt Leonard here. We're going to show Matt's face so he can come and say hi.
Hi, Matt. As you guys know, Matt is the content developer for the Intro to Deep Learning with PyTorch course that we just released, and he's also the content developer for this scholarship challenge course, and he'll be sharing his insights with you in just a few moments. But we wanted to first start off and say that this session is being recorded and you can access it through the event link that you have right now. We'll be sharing the slides with you after the recording is over, and I'll add that to the video description.
Awesome, and wanted to recognize today is Veterans Day in the United States, so thank you for everyone who's in the armed forces and served their countries. Really appreciate everything that you do.
Yes. And for those of you who have been affected by the fires in California or by the devastating mudslides in Brazil, we want you to know that we send our hearts and our thoughts out to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the agenda for today, I wanted to call out something very cool. We have 150 countries represented in the scholarship program, which is amazing, and wanted to just make sure that the first thing, our priority is that everyone is a respectful and positive community here. So just to assume good intentions when we communicate with each other in the Slack community, in Facebook, everywhere that we're engaging with our peers. So really looking forward to kicking this off.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder. And let's get started. And I'm going to share my slide deck with you right now. So give me just a few minutes as I get that set up. Just a few minutes.
Always fun. There we go.
All right, hopefully everybody can see our slides.
Awesome. So we're going to just jump into the goals of today's session.
Yeah, so our goal for today is to give you guys an understanding of how this program works. We hope that phase one will be an awesome experience for you to learn new skills, build a professional network, and get access to extra resources, and also get one step closer to your individual goals. In addition to Chaitra and I, we are lucky to have Matt Leonard with us, and we also have Doug Brown with us towards the end of the orientation. Doug Brown is a fellow scholarship student and will be sharing his advice and tips on what he's learned from his scholarship experience. After we cover some FAQs, we hope you'll join us in Slack for happy hour. This is a chance for us to continue with the introductions, and I have some fun icebreaker questions for you. So please just join me in Slack in the introductions channel afterwards for some fun and games.
Awesome. So we're going to jump into just the program overview. Just at the high level, want to make sure that we give you a sense of what's coming next. Do one more slide. Thank you. And yeah, so we're gonna just make sure that you know the duration of the program. It's gonna go from November 9th to January 9th, so 8 weeks of this program. We want to make sure that you know that you have to complete all the coursework by then, so that we can evaluate for the next phase. The beauty of this program is that you'll have this incredible community run by Brenda, who's our community manager, who's amazing. We'll have a network of alumni volunteers who support you with technical questions in the Slack channel and live help. And we've posted schedules for each of the alumni volunteers to come and help you in the PyTorch challenge site. So make sure you go in there and look at all the resources we have available to you. And then phase two is the Deep Learning Nanodegree Scholarship for the 300 students that will go on to the follow-up scholarship. And that will happen around mid-January of 2019. And so I'm going to introduce you to Matt Leonard, who's going to talk next. And he is our product lead for School of AI at Udacity. He's also the creator of the content for the challenge. So Matt, take it away.
Thanks. Hello, everybody. So yeah, just kind of give a little overview of the content that you'll be working through. I think many of you have already seen the first lesson that is being taught by Luis Serrano. So he's kind of going over the concepts behind neural networks and deep learning. And then after that, we have a nice interview with Sumit Chintala, who is the creator of PyTorch. And so he's kind of just talking about like where PyTorch came from, where it's at now, where it's going in the future, what are his plans and his team's plans for it. And then after that, so I come in and I teach the next lesson, kind of about how you actually build neural networks in PyTorch. And then after that, we kind of like go through a bunch of different architectures and applications. So one of my favorite, which you'll see, is style transfer. So you can actually take the style of one photo and apply it to another, and just a lot of really cool things and like artistic things that you can do with it. So it's really interesting. And then, so we're also covering convolutional networks and recurrent neural networks. So there are two different architectures that are very powerful and useful in different situations. And then at the end, we're talking about some new features of PyTorch. And in PyTorch 1.0, they've added some capabilities for actually making deployment of your models easier. So the way it works is you kind of train your model in Python, then you save it to file, and you can load that file into C++. And so you can go deploy it from there. And then at the very, very end of this challenge, you'll find a challenge project. So what you'll be doing here is building your own neural network model from scratch. Like there's basically no code provided to you, so you have to do all of it yourself, to classify images of flowers, right? So you give an image of a flower, and then your model is supposed to tell you what's the species of that flower in the image. So it's pretty cool. And then with that, as part of the challenge, and part of completing this entire challenge, and we are doing an automated grading, scoring of your project. And so when you train your model, you can save it, and then from there you can upload it to the lab that we built. And then from that lab, once you've uploaded your model, then you can run the automated grading code, and that will either give you a pass or fail. And then your score is sent to us, and then we use that as part of the challenge.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matt, and really wanted to thank this awesome collaboration between our team and the School of AI. This is the first time we've been able to offer such a huge opportunity for so many students. So kudos to you, Matt, and your team. And I'm going to jump into the next portion, which is selection for phase 2. I know there have been a lot of questions about, how do we select, how do we evaluate? There's so many of you. How do we really pinpoint who goes on to phase 2? Really, the most important thing for us is that you get to benefit from this phase 1. This is the phase where we've seen for other scholarship programs being the most powerful part of the scholarship, is because you have such a huge and vast array of people to write with and do projects with together. So really, this is the chance for you to kind of get the engagement and activity of the community and benefit from that and your network. The first criteria would be successful completion of the challenge course. That means all of the content in this challenge, which is the courses, the lessons, the tutorials, the video, quizzes, and then of course the final lab. So make sure you completed all of those things by January 9th, 2019, and then we'll do evaluation right after that. So we don't start evaluating until sort of the end point, because we want to make sure you get to actually finish all of the content, and then we take into account everything that's been done up to that point. And then the second is just the level of participation and support of your classmates and your community. So at Udacity, our values are better together and audacious and humble, and this really applies to this community of students. I think more than ever, because this is the place where we look at the students who are the most active and engaged in the community, who step up to volunteer information to their peers and create opportunities that could be useful for the whole group. So that doesn't mean necessarily the person who posts the most messages, but it's the way in which you step up and show leadership in the community. And we'll be rolling out a lot of different initiatives throughout the course of this program that will give you opportunities to participate in different ways. So stay tuned. Brenda will be sharing a lot more about that soon. We also will look at selection criteria from phase 1, including your essays and what you put into your application. So the next thing we want to talk about is just how to be successful. What we've seen at Udacity is the number of times you engage in the classroom really determines success. And what we've seen is students who come in more than 3 times a week are the ones we see over and over again, be able to graduate early from nanodegree programs, to become some of our biggest leaders and champions in the community. We recommend studying for at least an hour every day, but we recognize that you all have lives and families and other obligations, so do what works for you. Obviously, some people can dedicate more time than others at certain points of the week. That's totally fine. Use the mobile app. It's really convenient. If you're commuting, if you're on a bus or a train, you're waiting for something, it's easy to digest video that way, so I would highly recommend that. Use the quizzes to practice, and then definitely use your community to make sure that you're finding study buddies, accountability partners, and so forth. So with that, I'm going to jump in and introduce Brenda to talk about the next section.
So let's get started. So for those of you who are new to Udacity, or maybe even you're a current student but new to the scholarships program, we realize that all of this can be quite overwhelming. So based on advice from a previous scholarship student, we created what we have affectionately termed the Don't Panic List. And there are 6 very simple steps to make sure you're in the best position to not only start, but complete the challenge by the January 9th deadline. So let's walk through them right now.
Cool, so accessing your classroom. So if you got your welcome email from us, please jump into the link right there. It should take you right into the classroom.udacity.com. If you did not get an email from us, please write to us at scholarships-support and we can help you get access to that email. But essentially, make sure you're using the same account information that you did when you applied for the program. That will be the same email that's tied to your enrollment. If you have enrolled in multiple nano degrees, then you might see your course card, maybe not on the first page, but on the second page or the third page. So make sure you scroll through your pages in your home page. That will ensure that you get to the PyTorch challenge. And then this is sort of the screenshot of your classroom. When you get into the actual PyTorch challenge course, you'll see the welcome to the challenge, and you'll see all the content that Matt just talked about right over there. So it's pretty user-friendly. If you've been through an nano degree before, it's very sort of streamlined, but yeah, easy for you to digest, and hope you enjoy it.
So that was step 1, and step 2 is very simple also. It's join the Slack community. And Slack has proven to be the best platform for building a rich and engaged scholarship community. And it's one of the 2 platforms where we'll be evaluating your participation as criteria for phase 2. And as Chaitra mentioned, we're looking for quality over quantity. This is an 8-week program, so please remember to pace yourselves. And then step number 3 is attend orientation, which you can now cross off your list by attending our orientation right now. And step 4 is bookmark the PyTorch challenge site, and the URL is right there if you haven't visited yet. And I update this site on a daily basis, and really should be your go-to resource for finding any information about the program. I even reference this site on a daily basis, and the 2 biggest important tips that I have for you is number 1, go to the calendars page or the calendars tab and add the PyTorch calendar to your personal calendar so that all the events appear in your local time zone, because we do have students from all over the world, and I'll be posting in Pacific Standard Time because that's us in here in California. But if you add your calendar to your personal calendar, it'll do the calculations for you. And then second, if you miss an AMA, a Slack announcement, or even a recording of a webinar like this one, we'll have all those archived on the PyTorch challenge site, so you can refer back if needed and always stay up to date. Step number 5 is one of my favorites. It's download the Udacity app. And we know that our classrooms are open 24/7, but we also want to make sure that we can fit learning into your busy schedules. So our most successful students have said that it's the Udacity app that really helps to keep them on track. And they actually use the app to watch videos during lunch breaks, while they're commuting. And we even have students tell us that they use the Udacity app to watch the videos while they're working out, which I have to say, kudos to them. And now step 6 of our Don't Panic list is resources and programs. We'll dive right into those. So for technical help, we hope that you'll turn to one of our 9 volunteers. These are graduates from the School of AI. Our graduates will be hosting live help hours in the live help channel Monday through Friday, and you can find these times on the PyTorch calendar. They are also listed on our PyTorch challenge site. And really, we hope that you bring your technical questions to them, and not just technical questions, but look to them for advice. I mean, these are These are like nano-degree graduates and really can offer their words of wisdom and their experience to help you make it through this course.
I would also say to check out their bios on the challenge site.
Yes.
They're super cool.
Aren't they
And
cute?
just to get to know them a little bit better.
Yeah, and they're from all around the world, which I think is really special. So they'll be available to help you at any time. For program and administrative questions, meaning non-technical questions, you can come to any of us on the scholarships team. Our photos and our roles are at the right. I will be hosting office hours every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 10 a.m. in the AMA Sessions channel in Slack. Come visit me then. You can email us at scholarshipsupport@udacity.com, and Chris will be taking care of those inquiries, or you can message us with your questions. And we do ask that that you keep in mind that we are a team of 3, and there are 10,000 students in this program. So if you have a question, think to yourself, could this question benefit the entire student body? And if it does, please post it in Slack for everybody to see. And then that will allow us to really attend to the private matters that we get through DMs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then last but not least on this section is your classmates. And whether you're connecting on Slack, any of the online communities, Facebook, in person if you can, the scholarship student community is one of the most, I think, essential parts of this program. It's what we hear time and time again from all of our other scholarships is the relationships that they have built through these programs being one of the most valuable things about it. And through these types of programs, we've seen students get jobs, get promotions, get access to opportunities that they didn't even know existed. So yeah, what a huge shout out to all of you. We're gonna make this what it is. And you know, really this is the thing you're gonna take with you for the time.
Absolutely. So now let's move into community programs. And as Chaithanya also mentioned, you know, one of the things that we hear over and over again from previous scholarship students is that one thing that they value most is the relationships that they've built during phase 1. So to help you make those connections, we're going to have 3 opportunities for you. And the first is study groups. And a study group is a group of students who come together with common goals to support one another, motivate one another to complete the challenge. And these can be as large or small as you want. And you'll find instructions for finding a study group and what to do when your study group has been formed on the community tab on the PyTorch challenge site. So definitely find some students, create a study group. The second opportunity that we have to connect with your classmates are meetups. And meetups they can be as informal as a get-together at library, a coffee shop, or a pizza joint, or they can be as formal as you know of somebody from the industry who's speaking at this event, and you want to invite your classmates and maybe like meet up afterwards. And we ask that you arrange all of those through our PyTorch Challenge Facebook group. You'll find a link in the slide and also on the PyTorch Challenge site. And then once your meetup has occurred, we ask that you post your photos on the Facebook group, and please tag everybody there, and also put your location. We just love seeing everybody's faces, so definitely take advantage of that to promote your meetups. And then lastly is the In Tandem program, and this program is started by a friend-to-end student back in another scholarship, or Grow with Google scholarship, and it's run by student leaders, and it's a way for people to connect when you're not really fond of a big group. And you can choose the role of either being a mentor, a student who receives a mentor, or a student who's looking for a study buddy. So you have opportunities for big scale and small scale opportunities. So speaking of student leaders, what is our student leader program? This is a really successful program that we're really proud to introduce with every scholarship. And a student leader is just somebody who wants to kind of like be extra active in this course. You know, you definitely have to be a lover of Slack. That's not a requirement. We just really ask that you come with your big heart and big ideas and a willingness to get involved. Student leaders have spent approximately 5 to 6 hours a week in their role. And listed in the right is just some of the expectations. We're going to be launching the student leader program in a couple of weeks, so look out for that announcement. And I hope you all will apply.
And then the next program is the shout-outs program. So this is actually based on one of the programs we have internally at Udacity. So we call it the URock program as well here. It's a chance for people to recognize their peers, especially when someone goes above and beyond in helping them. So when we have launches and roll out new programs, we always like see this huge slew of emails that go back and forth, recognizing our various teams at the company. And we want to do the same thing here because it's really cool to see what students are doing to help each other. So what Brenda will be doing and has already shared, I think in the PyTorch site, is a number of forms. One of them is the shout out form. So fill that out. If someone really helped you out, it could be a big or small thing, but tell us what they did. And we'd love to feature those on the PyTorch Challenge site every week. This is also something that we share with the Facebook team who's sponsoring this program. So I'll say that this goes way beyond just this community, but it's gonna go to our partners and our sponsors. So yeah, use this opportunity. It's a really great way to recognize each other.
Yes, and speaking of sharing with the Facebook team, social media is the best way to do that. We love seeing all the tweets and the grams and the Facebook posts that you guys have put up when you were accepted into the challenge. And we want to see that scholarship pride every day of the week. So we've picked out some daily hashtags for you guys to focus on and post them everywhere with the hashtag PyTorch Udacity Scholar so that we can find them and like them and promote them.
Absolutely. So Slack, I know we've been getting a lot of questions about Slack, how are we supposed to manage this community? It's kind of overwhelming. We totally understand. Slack is not the most ideal platform to manage a massive community, but the idea here is that this is a launching pad for you. It's a place where we can provide structured learning opportunities like the live help channel, the AMA channel. We'll be rolling out new initiatives, like we said, down the road, and we hear you when you write to us and say, like, this is a channel we really need. We take that into consideration very carefully. So know that we hear you and we're listening to you, and we will be rolling out new things with each day that goes by. Also, it's just day 2 officially of this program, so you're gonna see a lot of activity, a lot of people who are just excited and introducing themselves. We see this always, and know that it gets calmer. It starts as you hit your groove, as you figure out which channels work best for you. You're gonna see it calm down a little bit. And I think one thing we just want to make sure that we hit home. It's not about the person who posts the most, on Slack. It's not the person who finishes first. This is a 2-month program. So you don't have to respond to everybody today or tomorrow. You have 2 months, and you have, we just shared with you a few initiatives that we're rolling out. These are all different types of ways we hope that you will engage with the community and with each other. It's about participation and creation. We've seen people go on to do just incredible things because of the community that's created. So we hope that you can use Slack in that way, and then keep giving us feedback. We want to get better at what we're doing, so we hear you and invite you to share more with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And just want to reiterate too, please familiarize yourself with the community guidelines and our code of conduct here. We're all in this together. Yeah. So let's be respectful and be graceful to one another.
Yeah.
There we go. I was having some slide issues right there. And you can look at this grid to see the channels and the purpose of each channel we have for the PyTorch Slack workspace. We've purposely kept the number of channels small just to make sure it wasn't overwhelming. That said, we understand that your needs can go beyond this. And so we will have a form for Slack channel requests that you can fill out. The way it'll work is that I will pick the top requests and then put it up to the community to vote. I ask, though, that you keep 2 things in mind. Number 1, keep in mind that this Slack channel that you're requesting will benefit everybody in the student body. And then second, ask yourself, is there another Slack channel that already meets our needs? Because as you know, the Slack space can be overwhelming. We want to keep it as organized and as simple as possible. That said, I have heard your requests to open up lesson-specific channels, and I'll be creating those later this afternoon.
Awesome.
Okay.
And a lot of people, I think, asked on day 1, how do you find each other for meetups and people in the same geography as you? That's what the Facebook community is really for, and we've done an awesome job of just managing that as well. But that would be the place to actually find each other, geo-specific groups, start sessions, everything that Brenna mentioned earlier about the meetup, post your photos, tag each other. Yes. We hope you use Facebook and that community for that purpose.
Yes, exactly. Especially too, since it's, we can share that with the Facebook Facebook team.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And now I am incredibly pleased to introduce you to Doug Brown. Doug is someone who's very dear to our hearts. I actually come from the Grow with Google scholarship program. Doug was a developer scholarship student with our Grow with Google program in the United States. And during the course of phase 2, he completed not 1, not 2, but 4 nano degrees, and you can see them listed here. Doug is currently a student with machine learning under the School of AI and has some tips of wisdom to share with you. So, Doug.
I'm here.
Yay! Hi, Doug. Welcome.
I just got everything working. My friendly Mac wasn't being friendly. I got back in just in time.
Nice.
And we're running way ahead of schedule, too, so I appreciate you jumping online so early.
Sure, happy to. So yeah, I've got just a few things that I'll run through real quick that I think might be helpful in terms of going through a scholarship program with Udacity. First thing I'll say, scholarship program is absolutely fantastic. I've had a blast this year being involved in all of the different parts of the scholarship activities, doing some of the nano degrees as were mentioned. Also, spending a lot of time helping to mentor and act as a student leader. So from that perspective, I'm going to give you a couple of ideas here. The first thing that I'll recommend is you have an attitude of finishing way ahead of schedule. Just because you have 8 weeks to get through the challenge course, don't think that you can just take the 8 weeks. Try and get it done in 2 or 3 or 4. See how fast you can get it done. Make sure that you're putting all of the extra time that you have available into doing this piece of work. You'll get a lot of benefit out of approaching it that way. The second thing that I'll recommend is that you really stay a part of the community all the way until the end. As Brenda mentioned, I've done several nano degrees now. I've done 3 of the 4 nano degrees that were part of the Grow with Google program. If I were to just have bounced out as soon as I was done with my first one, I would have been done back in March and would have missed an awful lot of opportunities to help others, learn from helping others. Even just on Friday, I learned a new tidbit about React from helping someone in the front end nano degree, something that I hadn't known even after finishing the React nano degree. So there's a lot of value to yourself for staying part of the community and helping out all you can. And of course, value for helping others. This is a community and everyone benefits from helping each other. So that's my third point, is look for all of those opportunities. There's a lot to be gained from it, and you'll make a lot of good friends along the way. The fourth point I've got here is don't panic. I know that that Brenda and team had a don't panic handout that you can print off. I think that's a great piece of advice to have. I've seen a lot of students that I've been helping that often feel like they're just about done, like emotionally and mentally and psychologically. They're just kind of done. They feel like they've been beating their head against a wall and just not making the kind of progress they felt they should. And they reach out for some help. And when I get in and look at what they've been doing and the progress they've made, they're literally minutes away from being completed. So when you get to that place, take a step back, step away from the computer for a couple hours, go take a nap, read a book, do something else. Come back to it with a fresh set of eyes, because you're probably really close to being through. That's the other thing then next, is to be honest with yourself. It can be a humbling experience going through this thing. Just be prepared for the idea that you're not going to get it all right the first time. Be prepared to break stuff, to make mistakes with what you're doing, to think about things in a very different way, and then to just also be willing to scrap whatever you've been doing and start over if that's what it takes, because this is new territory. Brenda mentioned I'm doing the machine learning nano degree right now. Phase 2 for that opens tomorrow, I think. Yeah, tomorrow. And so I'll get to jump on that now. And machine learning is completely new territory for me. And I have learned a ton just from doing phase 1 already. So be prepared to do all sorts of new things. Don't beat yourself up over the things that you don't know. That's why you're here. So have fun, learn a lot of good things. This is one step on a lifelong journey. Being in this particular kind of business, you will always continue learning, and you need to have an open attitude to that because there's always new stuff coming. And if you want to stay relevant, you'll always be learning new things. So that's the advice I have. And Brenda, I'll send it back over to you.
Doug, thank you so much for that really heartfelt and smart message. I hope that, I know that all these scholarship students are going to be taking that and really taking that to heart and helping them succeed in this challenge course. Thank you again for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule to pass on that message. I will see you back in the Grow with Google shortly.
All right.
All right, now for our PyTorch, continue on with our PyTorch orientation. We're going to go through some of the 3 most frequently asked questions that Chaitra and I have seen here.
Yeah, so when does the challenge phase end? So just as mentioned, January 9th, that should be the last day that you complete all of the content in the course, including the lab. And yeah, just make sure you use all of that time until, and then we start evaluation right after. Do I need to complete all the coursework? Yes, you will need to complete all of the coursework, so the lessons, the quizzes, the videos, and the lab in order to be considered for phase 2. And then do I have to participate in phase 1? What do you think, Brenda?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, I really want to make sure you spend as much time as possible as you can on the community and sort of taking part in all these initiatives that we set up for you. We find time and time again, the people that are most successful are the ones who learn in the community.
Yeah, most definitely. So I think we have time for some questions before happy hour. So I'm going to escape from here and go us back to our video.
So if folks have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, and we'll moderate and see if we can answer all the ones that are coming through. I know people had asked for the slides to be on longer than they were. We'll make sure to send out this deck, so don't worry about that. You'll have access to all the links, all the content after this the video. We realize it's very late for a lot of people around the world, so want to make sure that you all have access to this after the fact.
Yeah, we see that it's 3 a.m. for some of you in Singapore. So thank you again for staying up with us. And let's take a look at some of the questions that are
okay, so in. Brenda, we have, let's see, if we get into the nitty-gritty, can we delay when we start it? Do you mind taking that one?
Yeah, no problem. I'm afraid not. I'm afraid that we have a very set schedule that that's been prearranged with Facebook, and we are set to those dates. The deadline will come on January 9th. And then selection for phase 2 will begin. And then shortly after that, we will begin phase 2.
And then someone asked about study groups. What are they? I think we shared a little bit about them, but the way that works is Brenda's created actually a form that you can fill out. All of this, again, will be posted onto the Google site for the PyTorch scholarship. So you'll be able to actually put in your name and set up your own groups. We'll be sending all of that as well following this.
Exactly. And just to kind of be completely transparent with you guys, this is I guess you could say the process that in the past we've used with previous scholarships. But again, if this isn't working for you, we are always looking to improve here at Udacity. Give me your suggestions. I'm open to them. I want this to be as easy and enjoyable as experience for you. So hopefully what we've set up to find study groups is going to work. But if not, we're willing to pivot and try something new.
Yeah. And then there's questions about deadlines. There's a lot of questions coming in, so we're going to try to do our best to answer them here, but we will also follow up with more answers as we peruse through these questions. But deadlines, timelines, there's no set deadline with the exception of the final deadline of the 9th of January. So that includes even for the lab, you have until January 9th to actually complete it. So if you aren't able to pass the first time, you can actually resubmit. There's no limit to the amount of times that you do that.
Exactly.
How do we send you suggestions, Brenda?
Oh, that's you can come to office hours, and if I'm not there during office hours, you can leave them in the office hours channel for everybody to look at. Or if you don't feel comfortable leaving it in office hours, during office hours in the AMA sessions channel. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can, as always, drop me a DM or direct message in Slack.
Totally. And someone asked about the Facebook group. I know we're getting a lot of requests for the Facebook group. I know if you haven't been approved yet, it's coming.
Yes.
It's just a matter of us every day going through it and approving. I think some of these come during when we are at
Or
nighttime and
sleep.
sleeping. So you don't have to do anything else. If you submitted a request through Facebook, we will definitely respond to it.
Yeah.
Give us maybe 24 hours
Yes.
just to do it if it's after the weekend.
Yeah, and a couple things about Facebook. Number one is that please answer both the questions to join. If you have not answered the questions, I will have to decline your invitation, but doesn't mean you can't go back and answer the questions. So please do that. And the second thing is, again, we are asking you to use Facebook for meetups. If you have technical questions, if you want to do introductions, please use Slack for that.
Awesome. Let's say a lot of people asking how much time to spend in Slack, engaging in the community. What would we say? Recommendations for that?
I think that we've kind of given guidelines. Of course, these are very, very, very loose guidelines to spend 10 hours per week on this program. So dividing your time between classroom work and also community participation. So kind of use that as a guideline. But again, there's, you can adjust that to what fits you.
And someone asked how many students are selected for phase 2. So there'll be 300 students selected to phase 2, which is the deep learning nanodegree program. And I know there's probably a lot of questions that we're not getting to because this is just scrolling really quickly for us. So again, we will respond to the questions that we'll probably put it in a doc, and then you can send it over to you. We'll post it on the site in case we haven't answered the question that you've posted so far. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll look through them and respond to them definitely by the end of today. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of messages. So let's see. I think we got to a lot of the big ones. Again, we'll keep going through these questions to make sure we get to each of them. But I think we should probably let you guys jump into the happy hour.
Jump into Slack. Come on over to Slack if you haven't joined already. The invite should be in your welcome email. And join me in the introductions channel right now. I've got some fantastic icebreaker questions for all of you guys. Thank you again for joining us today for orientation. This recording can be watched again from the event link that you have right now. We will post the slides afterwards. Again, all the information that we've discussed can be found on the PyTorch challenge website. That URL is listed under announcements in Slack. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think we're good. The only one thing that came up was how do I get a link to the Slack invite? It should be in your welcome email that you got on the first day of class. If you did not get that email, please write into scholarships-support. And Chris is answering a lot of those questions, but we can send you that link directly.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.